Hey, Rams. Welcome to the Weird Canadian. Today, we're hosting Adam Torres. Adam is a host of the series Mission Matters, a show ranked top 2.5% out of 3.5 million podcasts globally. He's also the co-founder of Mission Matters, a media branding and book publishing agency. Adam is dedicated to amplifying the voices of entrepreneurs, entertainers, executives, and experts. An international speaker and author of multiple books on business and investing, his advice is featured regularly in major media outlets such as Forbes, Yahoo Finance, Fox Business, and CBS, to name a few. And the reason I'm bringing him in is because I feel like this is where we all need to start. If we're trying to build something, we got to start with our story. It is how we're going to establish our brands. So that's why I'm bringing him on. One of my first questions is like, for an entrepreneur just starting out, what's one piece of advice you wish you had during your journey?
I'll take it a step further and say, what could have saved me a bunch of money that I didn't have to spend and or lose? I thought because I was successful in corporate America, that immediately translated into entrepreneurship. It doesn't. I can think about like my early days, myself and the other co-founders named Shrek Cigar. We took our own money and we invested it into growing the company that we both own. But if I can, go back in time, I would have thought about like educating myself in that bit and not assuming going out and doing something on my own will be, I just operate like I used to operate. No, that's not the case. All those little things that I took for granted, all that infrastructure that was built, the processes, the HR, like all those things, we didn't, I'm like, oh, so who do I call to help with this? Nobody. I got to do it. So if I could give some advice to someone, I don't claim to be a business expert or an expert, but I just say, educate yourself on what you're getting into before you take the leap.
I can't say that. I want to be a hub for Canada to come and just be like, where do I start? Yes. Deep kinds of things. I'm working towards building an entrepreneur network. I want to really build up Canada because I think that's what we're lacking is entrepreneurship. So bringing you in.
I love that, and I'm interested in helping too. I have a big interest in Canada. I grew up in Michigan, in Detroit specifically, and I spent a lot of time in Windsor. So if we go back in time, I spent a lot of my high school years there. We could literally get across the Ambassador Bridge in like 10 minutes back then. And for everybody listening, like we weren't doing like horse and wagons or anything that far ago. Okay.
Well, I was just in Ontario as a year ago, and just crossing the border now is so much worse than it was 34 years ago.
Yeah.
I kind of want to fix those things. I want to have a relationship we used to have with Canada.
Yeah.
So I'll get into a little bit more about your methodology on building a personal brand. Because that was the one thing that I knew right on the start to do was establish the Weird Canadian as the Weird Canadian. But what is the common misconception people have with personal branding?
I think it's that you have to do and or be somebody you're not. We use this word authenticity a lot, but I don't know, that's a long, fancy word. I like to just say, just be who you are with your friends and just understand that there's enough people out there that will be attracted to you for who you are. And you don't have to like think about all the audience or all of the customers or all the clients or whatever the objective is that you're looking to do, all the investors, whatever you're looking to attract. You just have to think about like who's going to be attracted to you and find ways to add value to them. So, for example, when I came on this show, Cody, I was like, and what attracted me to coming on your show is like the Weird Canadian, like, oh, that's his personality. He's different. Somebody else might be like, why do you name the show the Weird Canadian? But it's okay. Like that person may listen and you might convert them over as a fan over time. Or maybe you don't even have to worry about it. Maybe that person's just not for you. No big deal. Like whoever's supposed to be listening will be listening. And all the rest you're going to kind of learn along the way. You're going to put one brick on top of another brick. And over time, you're going to have a real nice, strong foundation and hopefully company if that's your goal in being an entrepreneur.
It definitely is. And you just talked to that point. Like the reason I took the Weird Canadian was because I've always seen myself as a weird Canadian,
Yeah.
not one that likes hockey or likes Tim Hortons, and the typical Canadian stereotype.
Hold on, wait a minute. You don't like Tim Hortons. I didn't know that before I was booked on this show. I don't know if I can finish this interview. Tim Hortons, I love you. That's our first fight. We were Canadian.
Ever since Brazil took it, it's just not the same.
Oh my God. Go continue, Cody. I'm sorry.
But yeah, when I went through branding, it was really something that I think resonates with a lot of people. I don't think Canada's ever been some conformist idea. It's always been a collection of weird people coming together to make things better. So that's what I wanted to get back to, the roots of the weirdness of Canada.
I love it.
Building a story, building a brand, and the biggest part that I'm finding is the fun I'm having out of this. Like, just trying to muddle my way through this, asking people for help and reaching out to people gives you that insight and the knowledge to just step further.
And it's easier to think that you started with something that you resonated with. For me, when I started, our original company was called Money Matters. And it's not because I didn't resonate with that, but that was a very small piece of my life. I was in finance almost 14 years. So we thought, myself and the other co-founder, that we were going to build this financial platform. As time went on, the content I was creating in the episodes, I've done over 6,000 episodes. And when we looked at the episodes that I was doing and recording, maybe only 20% of the content was actually money related. So the transition to Mission Matters was very, kind of like natural in that sense. And there's a whole story behind that, but that's when we got aligned. So for you, and I tell this to anybody out there, like if you're starting something and you have the luxury of understanding what is going to fit in your brand, you're going to be that much further ahead. It took me 9 years to build this. The weird Canadian, I mean, you know what you like in the beginning. So you're so far ahead.
Oh, I wouldn't say that. At the beginning, I started being political rant, just was like fun with everything. Now I'm really seeing how entrepreneurship can open the doors to the problems we have, because that is all an entrepreneur is. It's building solutions to fix the problems. Bringing what I know as a software developer into the real world.
I don't mean to derail your interview. It's your interview, but how did that transition feel for you in content? Because that's a big one for people. When I moved from Money Matters to Mission Matters, me and Chirag, I already had 1,500 episodes under my belt. We published a bunch of books under that. We had a website, we had social media built out, and that transition was big. And that was after like 3 years in business. So like it wasn't quick for you. That's pretty quick. So I'm curious how like that was for you to realize that, to be that self-aware and be able to change that fast. It's amazing.
It's kind of been the resounding theme of my life. I've always been very aware of what I'm doing. I've always allowed the internet to give me the information I need to continue. Like I've always been aware that we don't know. I always need to. Like even as a programmer, the biggest thing I can give to any programmer out there is know how to ask a question. Because if you can ask a question properly, you are able to solve any technical problem. And with AI, the world's the limit. If you know how to properly ask a question, you can now solve the world's biggest problems.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people have that ability. It's just showcasing them, getting them built up. To speak back to like that transition, data, like the few thousand views I got and the couple videos I had showed me that enraging people was something I could do. I could really like enrage people. But the underlying themes I was getting from the audience were they wanted more of the how to fix it, not the frustrated, this is what's going on. That they wanted actionable steps. So now I'm pivoting more into working on building a sourced entrepreneurial community, breaking the 9 to 5. Say like Kickstarter for business. That's what I want to build. I want to give regular Joes the opportunity to get in at startups as well, and build businesses grassroots. I thought for 30 years I hated people and I hated talking to people. And it turns out I absolutely love talking to people. Once I got on Podmatch and started actually talking to people, everything just kind of aligned. And this is how I build things to people. I can showcase the bigger picture, how it connects the ideas I see and bring them to the audience.
A quick plug. I get nothing from this. Everybody listening, big shout out to Match for their hard work and everything. That's how we met. And if Cody has an affiliate link, then you should definitely share that. I highly recommend anyone using this. For example, one of the things we do is production here, and we have a new show that we released called "It Starts with You." And the host Anna Yu, she's amazing. She has all kinds of content out there, and she just started with Podmatch, and she's got booked on a bunch of great shows. Got to give her a plug and a shout out. This is her logo. Isn't it a cool logo? It's like a smiley face, and it's It Starts with You. YOO is the background, and that all came from Podmatch for like getting her booked on her first shows and everything else. And her show's growing great, and highly recommend people listen to it. But of course, like getting on Podmatch and their team is really good to work with, and I've been nothing but pleased with it.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I've never been so happy with a product I bought online for something that I was just diving head first into, not really knowing what I'm doing. But it has really firmed up what I want to do and really establish how I want to help and how I want to build this business. So now that we're on to the topic of podcasting, seeing as you're the top 2.5% global podcaster, which is no small feat, what strategies have you found most effective in growing and engaging your audience?
So I'll tell you first off, my story is not realistic, and it's not. I don't recommend people do what I do. Just for example, this year I'll do between 1,500 and 2,000 interviews this year. I've done over 6,000 interviews. So like if most people are keeping my schedule, they get burned out. It wouldn't sound good. So I like to do that as a preface before I answer your question, just because if you're at home and you're like, oh, I'm only at 10 episodes, I'm at 100 episodes, I'm at 500 episodes, and you thought you were killing it, you are killing it. Even big celebrities that launch podcasts don't necessarily take off immediately, even though they have a ton of followers, because you have to get used to somebody's voice. When you start listening to a podcast as an audience member, you become family. Like you're inviting somebody into your home, and long term, you're here listening to that person's voice. It's a very intimate relationship, and like any relationship, personal or business, it takes some time for that relationship to grow, and there's different stages. I'll give you some examples of, since Anna is a newer podcaster, some of the things that we're doing for her show. It Starts with You. Our initial even conversations from the beginning were always around what value are you bringing to your community. And she has a very distinct thought process around what she wants to do for her show, around different types of dating culture and things in LA and otherwise. So for that was her and her idea and concept of bringing a community together. That's the first thing, because ultimately your community is going to become not just your listeners or your supporters, but also your customers, right? So all of those things matter. And the next thing is, don't get caught up on being a perfectionist. Like my first 300 plus episodes weren't even edited. I don't even mean like fancy or audio levels in this. I mean like literally weren't edited at all. I just put them up. And to even think that they were podcast episodes, I don't even know if I call them that. They were basically recorded phone calls of me talking to somebody, having a conversation, and uploaded. But we built an audience from it. So that's another thing, is even if you have one episode and it's the best episode of your life, that might hurt you. That's the best episode of your life. There's no more learning to go. You're done, right? It's just not true. You're going to get better week by week, year by year, month by month, decade by decade. Like if you think about it from that long-term perspective, then there's no pressure. I do bad episodes all the time. I probably got a bad episode, and this might be a bad episode. I'm being interviewed. I don't know, but like next week I got 40 interviews on the calendar. What are the odds that all 40 of those interviews are going to be perfect? It ain't happening. But if you're out there listening and you're like, what? Then listen to them all and you let me know. Send me an email. Send me shame. And then that, I say that as a joke, but there's a lesson in that. Be a shameless promoter. I got 40 episodes next week. Please, I want you to listen to all of them and send me an email at adam@missionmatters.com and tell me which one you hated the most and which one you think I could have did better. I'm just promoting. I just want you to listen to the episode. You can't send me an email. That's my real email, by the way. But the point is, become a shameless promoter. People launch shows and nobody knows. 6 or 7 months ago, one of my really close cousins, he tells me, hey, Adam, I heard you had a podcast. I want to take a listen to that. Can you send me the link? I'm like, we're family and we've been to holidays together. I mean, we talk, we're in each other's life. And he said that to me with a straight face. It finally clicked to him that I had a podcast. I'm like, do you know what I do in this space? And he's like, yeah, you do some marketing with this. I'm like, oh my gosh. So if somebody that's like, well, my mom, she's no longer with us, but when she was around, and she'd be like, she didn't even know what a podcast was. She thought YouTuber. They don't know. Nobody knows. The people around you don't know you have a show. It's not their fault. That's your fault. Become a shameless promoter. There you go.
I've definitely been doing that across the internet and in my real life. I live in a small town now, so I'm trying to also start up a 3D printing business outside in this small town. And yeah, everybody's starting to get to know who I am because I'm just.
How many people? What's the demographic?
3,500 people. We're a coastal town that brings in a lot of tourists over the summer. It's in Westport, Newfoundland. Big summer destination area. And yeah, so just trying to drum up business. And
promo is important. I'm holding up a sticker that's a promo item. My show, we have a poker chip that's Mission Matters. I've given out 10,000 plus of these things, and they have a little QR code on the end. People travel into Vegas that maybe I'm playing at a show there or somewhere else, and they take them. I give them out, and I know this because years later, people will tell me, "Hey, I still have your poker chip," and I'm like, "What? Get out of here! Here goes another one." Whatever. So that's the thing, is it's thinking about like, okay, how do you make those relationships deeper? And many times by bringing them on the show is a good way to do it for you and get to know all the business owners. But then your audience of those people that meet you in person, that's so valuable. I go meet thousands and thousands of people in person, shake hands, go to events, because people will remember that. I still remember meeting Jay Leno when I was like 13 at a car show. No, I was 15 at a car show in Detroit at the Woodward Dream Cruise. And right after that, I was too young. I wasn't watching late night at that point. I knew he was after that. And I was a fan ever since. He got a lifelong fan. I'm still a fan of his. And he's a big inspiration of mine. And he got that from 2 seconds of like signing a shirt and just saying hi and being a nice person and looking me in the eye and shaking my hand. Like that. He affected me, 30 years later.
Getting ready for interviewing businesses, I'm just trying to get off videographer at this point, because I'm very bad at filming.
I'll throw this out there. Like, there's something to be said for audio. It's taking all of the hurdles out of the way. And so, like, on my format, I'll take a little audio recorder, and I don't go on leave home without it, by the way. So I'll have an audio recorder with me and the two little mics. And I will like impromptu. I meet somebody and whatever else, and I'm like, hey, you know what? We're having a great conversation. Let's continue this, but let me record it. I'll distribute an episode, and it doesn't have to be an hour long. We could be a 10-minute episode, but it's just rethinking the sport of podcasting versus being so rigid.
You did just clue into a lot of things that now I'm rethinking, but there is a component of my podcast I do want to do that's a little bit more performative. And that's what I was thinking about. But now let's go ahead and just do random
networking.
So now I'm thinking,
it's networking. For all you know, that audio interview that you do might be your next sponsor. And it's because they want to make sure that they're on there, and you might do a collab with a local restaurant that you did an audio interview with, and there's nothing to say you can't bring them back on the show and say, hey, I love that last interview. Here it is, this audio only. I'd love to come back and do one, but I just, I'm just starting out. I need you to put a little bit of budget behind this so I can have a videographer this, that, if you think it's of value. If not, no big deal. It's about making money on this. Like, it's about thinking, and I'm saying this to you not because you asked for advice. I'm just telling you that this is what I do this to this day. To this day, I'm talking to a government in Africa right now. The same conversation I just told you, but it's like, sure, I'll come out, I'll, interview the minister of this, that. I can do all these things, but we need budget. Like, I can't just go to Africa and spend all this money just because you want to do an interview. Sorry. Or we could do it virtual, and we could do it, and it's fine. You don't have to put up any budget.
That is very true. You have given me so much insight into new avenues that I wasn't even thinking about. And this is why I love bringing people on, is because every time I talk to somebody, I get new knowledge and new ideas.
Just make sure the numbers back out, even your initial idea. Like, maybe one quick example. When we initially started our podcast agency, so we've launched over 200 shows now, going actually a little over 250, I believe, as if we have like 5 that we launched this week. I was going to do an online program where I taught people how to podcast. and we sold some and it was doing well. But we found that those people that we sold to had a budget, and at the end of the day, they came to us because we were experts, and they didn't want to become experts. They just wanted us to do the production for them. So at the end of those courses, they were just hiring us to do their stuff, and they didn't get all the value from the course. So I actually no longer teach that particular course, and now we have a podcast agency. And what happened is when we think about value, I'm adding value now to hundreds of people that I've helped them launch shows and that we do all the production for, because maybe they want to focus on not how to edit, how to distribute, how to do marketing. They want to focus on becoming better hosts, and we've allowed people that opportunity. Now, if I got married with the idea of it has to be this program and this and that, then I wouldn't have been able to help all those people. So on your end, right now, I know you're saying you want to build a community, but if people aren't willing to pay for that community or put in a membership or do this or that, then it's not saying it's a bad idea. It's just saying timing is everything. Like if it ends up being that your businesses want you to come out and interview them and showcase their business to get ready for that spring rush, because I'm guessing everybody's competing during that spring rush for some of them, those same dollars. So who do they want to partner with? Who do they want you to go out and do maybe some live events or some live interviews or some other type of things that are going to allow them to drive more traffic to their business? You don't know. These are all just things you can do. And we do all of that, by the way. I do all of those different things that I just mentioned. So those aren't random ideas. Those are part of our business model 9 years later.
So much knowledge out of this. I want to respect your time, so I'll give you the last 3 minutes to plug whatever or give drop links and take it away.
My plug is if you're in Canada and you want to support Cody, man, get in there. He's doing good work. He's definitely working on bringing the community together. Support that. I mean, you want to make sure that you support other entrepreneurs out there, and I'm sure you're going to do great. And I'm looking forward to continuing to watch your platform grow. And if anybody else wants to connect with me, just go to Instagram. Real simple. Ask Adam Torres on Instagram, and that has links. Until I believe for the level and the size of our company, we give out more free content, whether it's ebooks, whether it's anything, how to start a podcast, become a bestseller, just all kinds of stuff. We got more free content, I believe, than any other company of our size. So again, if you got any show idea, book idea, anything like that, just go on Instagram, ask Adam Torres, and shoot me a DM. All good. I do answer my own messages there, and I love to connect with people.
Thank you very much. This was great, and I hope my audience can learn every bit that I've learned from you.